Dial-up modem. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. All right, folks, and I'm Tom Busby. I've got the crew here. I got Jonathan. Uh, just heard him. We got Chuck Crow, and we got Adam Mallory in the background, dealing the cards, so to speak. So, welcome. We had a market that sold off. Notable about the sell-off, it made a new daily low. We went down and made a new daily low, which throws everything really up in the air until it straights out. You might write this down. When you see a new daily low like that after it's been making a series of higher lows getting here, then you got to go to RB4. RB4. Does everybody know when RB4 is? RB4. Put the time into the chat room if you know the answer to that question. RB4. When does it start? There you go, Philip. There you go, Aimless. There you go, David. Yep, 130. So because of that, I'm going to come back live unannounced at RB4. I'm going to show you something about RB4 after a day like today that you can learn and I can educate you too. How many people like that idea? Me coming back at 1:30 and showing you something that you can take home with you and use. Okay. All right. Well, I decided I'd do it when I saw what happened this morning, and we're just going to do it at 1:30 to 3. We'll be with you. Chuck, me, and Jonathan, and Adam will be with you to make sure that we get everybody where they need to be. Risk involved in trading. Past performance is not indicative of future results. In my opinion, the market's still above its monthly open and currently rallied back up to the previous low, 62. Genesis is going to be real important today to watch it, and RB4, tying those two together, in my opinion. Now, the retirement center is growing. We're getting more and more people in there. We have some current positions on. We'll meet this Friday and do some adjustments, but you ought to join. It's free, and got a room all set up for you. And if you do join, get a Tasty Trade account. I find Tasty Trade is a great program to learn different segments of the market. And by the way, they have gone 24 hours. I figured out how to see it today. Maybe we'll show that to you when we go live on the 24 hours. And I've got the programmer is working on getting them linked to the roadmap also. That's about a month-long process we'll get done where you'll be linked there for another data feed. Okay? Row at DTI Trader, if you use us, use our link, and DTI, if you can't find a link, it's DTI. Put DTI on there and let us know that you did something with Tasty Trade. We got about 300 people that we've sent them. We're trying to get 1,000, and then who knows what we'll do then. Maybe we can negotiate some better rates for everybody. Okay? All right, train and trade here in September. We track everything through T-Buzz Talk and Trade. And it's really interesting. Joe was with me yesterday. Joe, he said, Tom, he doesn't understand why everybody's not a member of T-Buzz Talk and Trade. And when I showed him how I use it, with the different reference bars, the different pivot numbers around the clock, he said, that's unbelievable. And so anyway, we need to do some training on that, Jonathan, remind me, because he's been a long-term student of ours. He didn't know that we were doing that in there, and he's a member. And I said, yeah, we're doing that, and I use it all the time. It's sort of like my research lab. Chuck keeps it up, and he keeps it up in such a nice format that if I want to go back and I'm out of what, I can come forward on the day, go to all the tickers at RB1 we're following, all the tickers on RB2, RB3, and RB4 to see it. Okay. Anyway, pretty good. Today's focus is the power of discipline in trading. You know, this is a hard part for everybody. Who has problem staying disciplined when it comes to trading? Do your emotions make you do things that in trading? One thing I want to pat Joe List on the back for. He's an engineer. I won't hold that against him. You know, computer scientists won't hold that against him. But he's so disciplined what he does. He showed me his process, and I said, Joe, that's unbelievable that you're doing that and keeping up with it. And you know, I just got to tell you, it was very impressive to look at what he'd done. He's up 22% off what I've done this year, which is a pretty good statement, you know, based on all the different accounts he's managing for himself. Made me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. Okay. Thought that was good. The first step of trading, when you trade with discipline, is establish a goal. You ought to take a piece of paper right now, and the first thing that comes in your mind, you ought to say, what is my goal? And not a goal for today, but a goal for the week, but a goal for this year. What is your goal in what you're doing here? You know, that's what you ought to lay out as sort of your mission statement of what you're trying to accomplish. You'd be surprised having that goal verbalized will help you. Okay. The first step. Now, if you break down your trading goals into three different areas, what's your short-term goals, what's your swing-term goals, and what's your long-term goals? My long-term is about a year out. My swing goals are based on really the month, and then my short-term goals are based on the week. Okay, that's the way I think about it personally. Okay, that's week, month, and year. Next, you must develop some process that makes sense, not when you're in the market, about managing your money. And I'll give you a simple technique that I've told people for years is a good way to do it. Let's say you got 50,000. Well, divide it into different silos of 5,000 each in each silo with various goals for each of those silos, what you're trying to accomplish. And then the various trading strategies you plan to use for those goals. So you have 5 silos, or a simple breakdown of 5 silos, okay, might look like this. 3 silos will focus on swing and long-term trading, 1 silo for short-term strategies, and 1 silo for income strategies. Now, income strategies, I think a couple things you could put in there. You could put, if you can put that in there, which is what you have to do and the things you have to do. Okay. And that's just, sorry to get interrupted there, but silo for short-term strategies and silo for income strategies. Like put selling would go in there, or dividend collection would go in that silo. Short-term strategies would be more of a speculative strategy that you use in options to try to accomplish maybe some weekly goals with short-term strategies, 72 hours out, that kind of thing. And then a longer-term swing and long-term strategy is where you put the major part of your money, where you're always keeping your money working. Joe said something that's very interesting to me, and I said I got the same way. I try to keep my money working. That's what I try to do, keep my money working. Now, within each of the $5,000 silos, okay, I'd also recommend dividing dollars up evenly. Example, $1,000 each if you break it down. Now, a big part of discipline, and this is something I keep referring back to Joe. You get to know people when you go one-on-one, but Joe, everything he does, he's very disciplined about this, but he takes a $500 bet. A $500 bet. So I thought that was really unique in people that come to see me one-on-one, that he had that mapped out, where he does take that $500 bet, okay? And, he divides it up that way and lets it play out. That's why one stock going bad or trade going bad doesn't kill him. And the key to keep level bets, take an equal or lesser risk for every trade. Don't let enthusiasm, influence you to risk more than you can afford to lose. Let me give you an example. Y'all want to hear an example? Here's an example how you could really screw yourself pretty bad, right? Boy, I think gold is going really, really up. I think you ought to be buying gold right here. I think it's going to be up, this week. It's going to hit maybe, 4,300. Okay, that's a goal. Then I say, I sort of like this trade on interest rates. It's a little bit longer term. We might get there. This is what you have to do. Despite what you hear, that was an example. Despite what you hear, you don't want to load up on gold and minimize maybe the TLT trade. You want to keep the bets level. That's the problem of not having discipline. You hear things, and I just did that as an example to show you, because I've heard people say that and get me all pumped up. And then I lose a bunch of money on that and keep the bets level. Does that make sense? What I just did, that little example of, oh, this is great, yeah, and get the cheerleader, the pom poms out, and then, oh, by the way, I like TLT. But TLT ends up paying you 30%, and gold ends up losing. Okay. And Jim, long-term traders adopted that approach. It saved his bacon many times, he says. Okay. Don't let enthusiasm influence you to risk more than you can afford to lose. Now, it also requires following a process. Now, here's what you can do. You can go read 100 books out there. You can go trade 1,000 trades. You can do all that. But if you want a shortcut to get what you need as a process, I would advocate that you use the process that I use. It works. There's no way, if it didn't work, that I would have a long-term following like I do. No way. There's no way that you'd look at our track record of about 190 trades and about 86% accurate if it didn't work. So why try to reinvent the wheel? I spent millions of dollars learning this. Take it, learn it. We give it to you through our white paper. Follow our process. Use our tools, our roadmap. Don't get sidetracked. This works. I'm hammering my hand on the table. Learn this. I gave people something last night in my Futures First that it would take 20 years to figure out. I gave it to them to be there. Let's look at an example of Apple, which was one of my top 10 tickers from Sunday night this week. Apple has struggled to stay above the month open at 255. I set a breakout level at 255.55. I set that. I put it in there. Monday morning, the stock opened back above the month open. I used the RB frame method money to get us into a trade for TNT during our train and trade session. 11% return on $1,000. Great trade. Joe and I actually made that trade with you, okay? But that was using the process, the entry, the discipline. Now everybody made different amounts to that. If they had 5,000 up, they made 5 times that. If they had 10,000 up, they made 10 times that amount. But one contract would have yielded a $1,000 play, would have yielded a pretty nice touch. There's no need to reinvent something that already works. Our process at DTI works, and it shows up in the results. There you go. Almost 200 trades, 27 losers, 1 break even, 86% accurate. That's pretty strong. And you've been here. Now notice I got 2 losers. I had a loser this morning. Does it bother me? No, it's just part of the process. 17 winners and 2 losers, still at 89% with 19 closed trades with 2 weeks to go. Process works, up and down market. Now, this is something I'm going to teach you today. You realize I did this for 20 years to find out about myself? And a lot of my old students know what I'm talking about when I say green circle country, okay? Green circle country was a concept I came up with to keep me disciplined, okay? Because, you know, I'm an over trader by heart. You know, I'll trade this or trade that without any second thoughts, and it's cost me a fortune not having a plan doing that. And I'm just trying to save you the money in the future by listening. Y'all ready to hear about green circle country? Let's take November. November's going to start, and what I'd like you to do, if you participate in green circle country, I'd like you at the end of the week send an email. You can send it to tbuzztnt@gmail if you'll do that at each week. But here's the way I score it. It's not how much money you make, okay? It's if you make money. $1 gets you a green circle. So on Monday, November 1st, if I make money, at least $1, I get a green circle. Everybody understand the rules? $1 is all I need to have a green circle. What I'm about to show you is going to make you a better trader. I did it for years and years and years. Chuck used to do it. Everybody used to do it at DTI. Okay, green circle country. Everybody understand how to get a green circle? Tell me yes, you understand. Just get a calendar out for November and do it. You'll see what I'm talking about. You're going to find out a lot about yourself. Okay. Now the yellow means you didn't trade. Okay. You didn't trade that day. It's okay to have a yellow. Okay. And a red means you lost more than $1. So at the end of the month, you're going to find a pattern. Here's the pattern I bet shows up. Some days are better than other days for you personally. I don't know why it works that way, but we did this for years. I found out sometimes Thursdays were not good days for me. So I might be a little more cautious on Thursdays, okay? All right. And this is green circle country. We just keep it on a website. For years, we'd post green circle, green circle, green circle. And people would go, I need to do that. I need to follow that process. So for November, I'm asking you to do this, okay? And check it out, and then we'll have some fun. Jonathan, remind us every Friday, let's ask and see how everybody's doing, okay? Remember that question. Every Friday in November, I want to know, okay? Green circle country.
Sounds good.
This is the game we'll play together. You'll find out, are you risking too much, risking too little? You'll find out a lot about yourself. All right, that's the calendar. Now let's go live. I want to go live to the Roadmap software. And if everybody's got the new download, Jonathan, by the way, I'm back in my office here. Would you give me that new download where mine shows up that way? But let's go live. I'll show you features. Everybody see the numbers, and you can see you got a couple numbers there. You got the controlling number, so that RB3 right there, and over to the right, left over in the metric, it says RB3, 67.79. Well, we're below 67.79, right? What does that signify if you're below 67.79? Market's headed lower, right? If you look at what's going on there with that new low being created on E-mini, we're down here at 35. Everybody see that? That's D-mini. All right, let's go. We dropped about 20-something points. Okay, let's go to the NASDAQ. What does it say? Again, NASDAQ's about to hit target here. Jonathan, you made a point talking to me this morning. Was it the weekly open was holding?
Yeah, and we've now dipped below that week open, but by a little bit. That's 25,065 as the week open on the NASDAQ. We're basically
Okay.
right. 24, not too far away from that is the monthly open on the NASDAQ, 24,843. That's the great thing about this metrics. I mean, it's staring right at you. You can't, I mean, you can overlook it, but if you kind of train yourself to look over here in the metrics, it's always there for you. Week open, month open.
Yeah, it gives you targets and everything. Like right now, the targeted low off the 30-minute, right?
Yep, 24,000.
24921. If we go to 24921, we're going to be way above below the weekly open, and we're going to be approaching the monthly open. Okay. All right. Dow made a record yesterday. Did y'all know Dow made a record yesterday? Look at that.
47,034. Yep.
What's the low of that Dow?
Yes, talking about yesterday's low,
Yeah.
46,812.
Now set an alert for me on that. If the Dow breaks another 130 points, now you got the Dow, E-mini, and NASDAQ making a low.
Alert set. Here's your 30-minute. I'm gonna blow this chart up a little bit so we can see it better. RB3 low from yesterday looks like was 46,893. 46,911 was the open from yesterday on the Dow cash open, that is.
What was it?
The RB3 open from yesterday was 46,911.
About 60 more points, huh?
Yeah, and today's low is we dipped down to 46,917. So we effectively tested that cash open level from yesterday on the Dow. The high from RBX yesterday was 46,950.
Okay.
I want to look at this viewpoint. So we took away the spike up there on the Dow to all-time highs yesterday. How does that compare to the NASDAQ? NASDAQ wiped it out and then some. And the S&P. Same for the S&P. Okay. Weekly open on the S&P is at 67.21. And of course, before that, the month open, 67.25.
Okay. Let's go back. I guess crude oil. You gonna put crude oil in there?
Crude oil. There's the daily first. There's your daily.
Go back to the daily. That's the daily.
Yeah, this
Making
is
a new
daily.
high on the daily, so crude's correcting. All right, let's go look at the 30-minute now.
30-minute.
Okay.
Here's a daily chart of gold futures.
Okay, let me teach you something about gold. Look at, you're at 40.45 right now on gold, right? Okay. We made a new low, didn't we?
Yes, we did. One of those air pockets you talk about.
Huh?
I said definitely one of those air pockets you often talk about in gold.
I mean, gold's down to 4,046. It's down 1.5%. Down $62. My timing telling everybody if we made that high up there at 4,400 said stay out. Pretty good timing. If you think about it, look at it. What's that, about $400 down? Yep, that's real good timing. All right. We'll get back in, but not now. Let it play out. Don't be Don't be anxious. All right, that's silver. Silver's down in support right there. It looks like 45 would be a good support level. If you look up there, that target that was reached, or, yeah, right there where it came down, right there. Yeah, pretty interesting. Okay.
That's the daily chart of bonds there.
1907 went to 19 yesterday. Interest rates are being lowered. They said that they've got a rush of people refinancing their homes because mortgage rates fell, which I thought was an interesting statement to hear this morning. But you knew that was going to happen, right?
Yep, that's good.
All right, let's look at Apple. Now, what if I talked to you about the S&P? I said 75% of all stocks fall when the S&P's fall. And I would say the S&P's falling. Wouldn't y'all come to that conclusion? The S&P's falling? Well, if the S&P's fallen and 95% or 75% of all stocks fall, it's not surprising to see Apple come down. Just want to point that out. Now, we also know, go to the 30-minute. We also know that we're entering Genesis right now. And what is Genesis known for? 4 out of 5 days, it marks a low or high for the day. The odds are, with the market selling off into Genesis, that it's going to make a low. Now, that's the other reason I want to come back at RB4. We'll let it play out and see. But that's the odds of what's happening right now, that the market is trying to find the bottom, okay? Especially with the S&P 10 points away from its monthly open. Not a bad spot to see buying step back in. See how you put things in perspective with the DTI approach? Okay. You put the QQQ in there, if you will. $604.50, okay? That's Genesis. All right, folks, today's subject was what? Discipline. I think we covered it, and I'd like y'all to join me at 1:30 to kick off RB4. So that's when we're going to come back, and that's it. That's all we got today. I hope anybody, if they got anything else, they can ask questions. But I think we'll come back at 1:30 to 3 and play out the day with you. What do you think? Let's just let it play out and see where we go. Chuck, Jonathan, y'all got anything you want to say?
I'm looking forward to it, Tom. It's been a while since we got together in a room with you in the afternoon. So let's get a good lunch, be ready to stay focused. And
yeah, do we have the Zoom room we can put in here for everybody to have it easy?
Yeah, let me
do that before we go. That way they'll have it, the ones that are here.
Yeah, you just give me a moment and I'll add it in the chat, and I'll add it to the slide deck here in a moment. I need to get it created first, and then we'll go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom, I'd say one thing to keep an eye on. We've got that low down there on the Genesis bar at 67.3250. You look at how much room this market could recover if it decides to do that. I think RB4 is going to be very exciting. And if we do break lower, well, then that might be exciting for other reasons.
Yeah, really. I think a good choice to decide to get together on RB4. Thanks, Polly. We did that, and to help everybody out. You got some earnings plays coming too. You got to keep in mind. Is Tesla today?
I believe so. Yes, I think did they come out earlier, or are we
No,
waiting
it's
for the
after the
afternoon?
close.
Okay.
Yeah, it's after the close. Netflix was last night and Tesla tonight.
Yeah, Netflix taking a hit on their tax
Put
issue with
Netflix in there
Brazil.
while we're waiting. Get the Zoom link, or you got the Zoom link, but put Netflix. Let's take a look at it just for the fun of it.
All right. Yep, Zoom link posted.
Put it daily up there. Okay, you got Netflix topping out at that same level, 1245 area, 1245. And then it gaps down to 1160, goes down to 1114. Now go to a 30-minute. So we'll see if Genesis holds for Netflix today. We'll know. Let's look at it again when we get to RB4. All right, folks, thank you for being here. I'll see everybody at RB4. Y'all have a good afternoon as we watch and wait for the opportunities to stack up. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.